And when we look at Earth, it's the right distance away from the sun, has an ideal atmosphere, plus it is abundant with water. So going back to the idea of Goldilocks and the three bears, it's not too hot, it's not too cold. Earth is just right. So today's lesson I titled Goldilocks and the Three Planets.
Okay.
And so hopefully this will make sense as we delve into it. So what I'd like to do here is begin with a little activity. And so this is often what I'll start a class with, is just a little warm up to get the kids thinking about the topic. And so the question I have here is, what characteristics or features would you use to describe the planet Earth?
I would say oxygen, water. Are those kind of round? Oh, look at you.
It's going to be a whole variety of different answers. And I think that's what is fun about having this open to all the students to share their different thoughts. Because then you sit here and you can look through and say, okay, here's somebody who said, round and water and oxygen. Here's someone else who also said water. And here's someone who said plants. Just like Goldilocks was very picky and there was only just certain elements that were just right for Goldilocks, we're kind of the same way. We're on Earth. We as life, as humans and life in general, are very picky. We need very specific conditions, very particular conditions in order for us to be able to survive here.
Mars.
And then here we can look around and you are on the surface of Mars here.
The red planet.
Yep. Yeah, often called the red planet.
Well, didn't they find water or proof of water or...
Yeah, and that actually brings us to our next point, which is about water, because water is something, when we talk about the possibility of life, specifically studying Mars, that's one of the things that often comes up is the presence of water. Now, one of the things that's sometimes misconstrued about that is we talk about, whether or not there's water on Mars. We definitively know there's water on Mars. The problem is it all exists in ice at the poles. That's not really what they're looking for. And just a couple quick pictures here. So when we look at Earth, here we have our planet. And again, right away, it's often referred to as the blue planet. If Mars is the red planet, Earth is the blue planet. And I think it's easy to see why it would get that nickname.
Right.
Yeah, so much of the surface is covered in water, which is really one of the most unique aspects of our planet. As far as we know, having another planet with liquid water present on it to that extent is very rare.
Okay, well, speaking about high school, Emmy is a freshman in high school this year, and she has a lot of honors classes and a lot of upper level classes. Mm-hmm. How does that work with your learning model, with the way that CCA teaches high school? Are there availabilities as far as classes that are upper level, more challenging classes?
Yeah, so we offer honors level courses for pretty much all of our core classes. So there's an honors version of those courses for those students that are looking for more of that challenge. And often those will focus a lot more on getting the students thinking and using those critical thinking skills and really kind of expressing themselves.
How does CCA prepare their students to enter college?
Yeah, that's something that we have what's called a college and career readiness program. And what that is it's all about helping the students to identify what their post-high school plan is. Okay. That's one of the big things we're really like to emphasize is that our goal here at CCA is not just about getting students that high school diploma and then pushing them out and saying, well, good luck. We really want them to be prepared for that post-high school life. And before they even finish up their senior year. So that way, when they're graduated, they're all set to go. They're feeling prepared. They're feeling ready. And there's not that period of time after high school where they kind of look and they're like, well, now what do I do?
Right, right. It offers a smoother transition. Do you offer ACT or SAT prep classes or courses with CCA? I mean, as far as getting ready, is that part of it?
Yeah, so we have all sorts of opportunities for students to be able to kind of work and to develop those skills that they will need to for those various entrance exams and to prepare them for those experiences and help them to have that best start.
Very nice. If you could just do me one more, answer one more question for me.
Sure.
A day in the life of a high school student who attends CCA. How does that look? What is that like?
Wow, that's going to look very different for each student because that's one of the things that we kind of pride ourselves on is the ability for students to really have that flexible day. Now, for an average student, that'll involve waking up at some point. Now, I say that because I teach high school. So for my students, some of them are early birds and they're up at like 6 o'clock and they're ready to go. But for other students, they might start their day after lunch. And that's totally cool. Like that's one of the things that's really awesome about it for students is that what that day looks like is going to be different for each student when it starts. And then once they're up and going, they log into Edio and they're able to see their calendar. The calendar lists out very clearly what lessons are scheduled for that day and when the live sessions are. So many of the classes can be completed either asynchronously, where the student can go in and they're able to complete a fully self-guided learning experience, or they can be completed synchronously in a live session with a teacher, very similar to kind of what we did here.
I love hearing that, especially, high school, it's really, a lot of finding out who you are and figuring
Mhm.
out what your interests are and having so many different opportunities to see what something that you may never have thought of might be, where you end up going, the direction that you end up taking. So I love that CCA offers a plethora of choices when it comes to class schedules and interests, and it really allows the child to explore avenues that they may not have considered. So I absolutely think that is wonderful. If you could give one piece of advice to parents and other students who are watching this video, when it comes to CCA and considering it, what would you offer up?
I would say check us out. One of the cool things we have right now on our website is we have our full course catalog on the site for next school year. So if you're interested in just checking out what we have to offer, I would definitely give that a once over and look over some of those great opportunities that are there. I think we provide just a lot of things that are just unique to our setting. I know this year has been tough on a lot of families when it comes to education, and some schools have just really struggled with the adapting to that virtual setting. We've been doing virtual for a while now, since 2003, and so we're specifically trained in teaching online in an online environment, and hopefully I was able to demonstrate some of that tonight here and show what that experience would be like. But there's just a lot of great opportunities for students to be able to have a one-on-one communication with teachers. We have scheduled times where I teach during the day, but most of my time is working one-on-one with students, helping them to identify areas of strength, helping them to identify those areas where they're struggling and working with them to help improve and develop and grow in the area that in the subject in science. And all of the teachers are phenomenal, and they're always happy and willing to work with their students. And so I think that's really what makes us unique is just the teachers and those that we have working with the students in order to help them be successful, not only in school, but in life in general, to help them feel prepared, help them to feel ready so that when they do leave high school, that they feel like they're ready for that next step and that next opportunity.
Well, thank you, Mr. H. I appreciate your time. I absolutely enjoyed the lesson immensely. I thought your lesson was absolutely wonderful, and we both learned something today. So that's a win.